So I won't leave that in the show.
No.
Don't upset the snowflakes.
Oh, I feel offended. Hey! Hello, and welcome to the Midlife Gamer Podcast. Today is Tuesday, the 25th of June, 2019, and my name is Darren Baldock, and joining me at the other end of the intertubes is the Right Honourable Mr. Matthew Moore, Farringdon Stronghold, or is it a Lib Dem stronghold now in that place where you don't want us to know where you live now? Oh, here we go. We got it all going on today. All the doings, what we've been doing, who we've been doing, what we've been playing, who we've been playing, and all that other good stuff. So kick back, relax, and enjoy episode 289 of the Midlife Gamer Podcast. Matthew, my friend, I dropped a bit of a bomb on you last week, didn't I? We were having a conference call around the MLGX. More on that later, boys and girls. Hang in there. Some good announcements coming through. I says, you fancy recording next week, Matthew? And he says, I haven't heard that out your mouth for months.
Fuck you, I said 2 years.
Okay, yes. I'm here, I'm ready. I'm fully recovered from our jaunt up to Sheffield. Still beautiful times in my mind, as always. So let's get cracking with the knacking, my friend. First off, what have we been up to since we last recorded? What's been going on in your life, my friend?
Well, I don't know, man. It was. I've got to say, it was once again. It was lovely up in Sheffield, and thanks again to Rich for putting us up. And my drive home, I was diverted off the motorway, and fucking hell, if that's not a beautiful part of the world. Rolling hills and beautiful countryside. It's like Forza. Like Forza Horizon.
What, in Staffordshire?
No, on the way back from... No,
right, okay.
Well before Staffordshire.
Yeah. No, Rich and I hung around. After you left on the Sunday, I hung around with Rich for another couple of hours. So, of course, we got Magic to the table. We had a beautiful game of Magic. We declared a draw on that. We got one game each in and played a little bit of Memoir 44, which I've still got a lot of time for. I do love that game so very, very much. So yeah, that was a tip-top weekend, and thank you to Rich and his good lady for being venerable hosts.
Totally. We've seen each other recently. I don't think a lot has happened, but one thing that this happened to me the night, and I don't know this was scary, I think. Actually, you tell me, should I be worried about this? So since I'm now in more of a rural setting, everything is a little bit more rural, and it was gone half past 11 at night. I can hear a chainsaw going.
Okay.
And I don't know if I know I'm rural, so people are going to have a chainsaw, but who chainsaws at night?
Apart from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Have you got a Whitney Chainsaw Massacre?
I mean, I've got a couple of axes in the shed if need be, and I've got a head torch. I thought, do we go down and take a look what's going on? I thought, no, there's nothing good could be stumbled across tonight.
Do we live in a world where we still keep weapons to hand by our beds? And I'm not talking about the massive weapon in your third drawer. Although you could probably knock somebody out with one of them, couldn't you?
It's closer to hand than anything else.
The only reason I ask is my old man always sleeps my mum's old man. He always sleeps with a hammer under the bed, just in case. Just in case.
You never know.
I've never felt the need to weaponize my life like that. I just think, well, if you're going to break in, you're going to break in. I've even left the door unlocked in the past for those people. I'm making it a bit more of a challenge now, to be fair, just given the amount of cardboard and associated doings I've got going on in my house.
I know. I mean, I was thinking. I mean, you've had a break-in, haven't you?
Yeah. It was a few years ago.
And were you in or out?
No, I was in.
And did you know it? Did you know it happened? Did you sleep through it?
Yes, slept through the fucking lot. But mate, I'll sleep through anything.
Well, yeah,
as my missus, I would sleep through World War III.
Now, do you think that? I mean, I'm trying to put my mind in the headspace of a robber. That if you're robbing someone's house and you startle them and they come downstairs and turn the lights on, do you bolt, or does that automatically turn into a home invasion?
I don't know. I think if you plan it enough in advance, if you ran at them stark bollock naked, with I'm just trying to think the nearest thing to hand that I could wield, probably this microphone. Can you imagine me running at you downstairs screaming, and obviously I'd go full Brummy when I'm in scream mode, wielding a condenser mic on a stand. I think I'd scare you off.
I wouldn't,
especially if I'm if I get hold of you, I'm gonna fuck you so hard in the ass.
See, you very much go hard or go home in your world of confrontation.
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? Really, you've got to. That's how that. Maybe this isn't the best admittance in the world, but when kids have got really gobby, you know when you got young kids that are fronting you and they're giving it all the big spuds, and I'll just say, have you ever been fucked by a grown man before? and that normally shuts them up. No, I haven't threatened them. I just asked them a question. Have you ever been fucked by a grown man before? And that's normally enough to set them right. He goes, oh, you fucking nonce. I said, I didn't say I would. I was just asking if you have. Yeah? Or your boyfriend. Anyway, enough of my fun and games with young boys.
I'll tell you what, I need to go to the cinema because have you seen that trailer for Yesterday?
I have. I've that's been knocking around a good while. I like the current vibe of music or musician related stuff. Obviously, I had Bohemian Rhapsody. I had the fortune to go and see Rocket Man since we last recorded. I really enjoyed that. It's got your boy in it. It's got your boy.
Oh, Golden Circle fella.
Golden Shower guy. I've forgotten his name now, but he's a corker in it, mate. Yeah, does a fabulous job. Yes, Yesterday looks very good. The Beatles, I like the Beatles very much.
Yeah, man.
Along with Bon Jovi, Madame Gaga, and the Coldplay. More of that later on in the show. Yes, you've seen the trailer for Yesterday. What else have you been watching?
Oh, you know what? I've not. No, I have. I managed the first episode and a half of Good Omens on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Early thoughts?
Yeah. Very, very British humour. I was watching and I thought, the wife's not going to like this. It is that sort of very dry British humour. And did you see that a Christian group tried to get it taken down and they got the petition of many, many, many people and sent it to Netflix?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's just awesome, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You melts.
think
think that's a word, isn't it? You melt. Oh, dear. It's this country, it's just gammons and melts. You can't move for them. Anyway. What else have I been watching? I got to watch Take Down Chernobyl before my Now TV subscription ran out. Obviously, don't need that anymore now. Game of Thrones is all done and done. Chernobyl was excellent. It was a fabulous show. And my current jam, I've just started getting into, and I know I'm very late to the party with this, so I do apologise. Heard of a show called Brooklyn 99?
Oh, I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm enjoying that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's good old fun, that is.
Or you can binge that. I mean, especially when you've watched a couple of the series, you can just watch any random episode and go, oh, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And what else? I'm a bugger for starting seasons or starting TV shows and not actually getting any further with them. So I watched the first episode of Fleabag. Heard of Fleabag?
I hear good things about it.
Yes. Well, I watched one episode. I thought, right, I'm going to stop here. I said, because this is something that the good lady and I could enjoy. So the last time I saw her, I said, hey, I've got a new show for us to watch. I says, have you ever heard of Fleabag? She says, Yeah, I've seen both seasons. I told you about it the other week. I went, oh. She says, oh, right. It was one of those times when you weren't listening to me. You know, because guess what, ladies? We appear to be listening, but we sometimes our minds are elsewhere. If you hadn't already worked that out, like thinking about board games and what have you. So you know, she's getting used to me, but my heart's in the right place. You know. What else? Oh, I tell you what I did at the just about the following weekend after we recorded the Home Invasion, the UK Games Expo at the Birmingham NEC. It's a favourite thing that I do every year now since. Because obviously I've been into the whole cardboard side of things for the last couple of years, and I do enjoy. I enjoy going to that show. It's got a very different vibe to the Eurogamer Expo, and I think this is well documented, and I've spoken of it before. But it's very light. It's very busy, very busy indeed. But I took the good lady along. Just for I wanted a non-gamer's perspective and somebody to obviously help me. So I'm at that age where I need a helper. I need somebody to hand in case I get lost or I have a moment or a fall. But no, I said don't worry. I says we'll be going for beers. She says all right, okay, I'm in. But she was very good. She said, because she's got this thing that she hates about me. You know, you've got little foibles that your partner really disapproves of, or maybe irks them somewhat. Okay, so apparently when I'm in a large space, in a browsing area, let's say a supermarket, for example, I just meander, and there's no set path or rhyme or reason as to what I do. And she equates it to a fart in a trance. So she suggested that we get a bit more organised with the viewing. So we actually got the floor plan of the of the show floor, and I made a point of I wanted to see every single stand. So I plotted a roof. I turned left and I followed the wall. And then when I got to the end and I went up the main long bit, then I turned around 180 degrees and came back the same way, but again looking to the left. So I was seeing both sides of the aisle, but me not kind of jumping from one side to the other, trying to stay laser focused on the one side of that aisle. Because she says, won't be tired if you stray over. If you stray over to the other side. I'd say the one thing I did do is as soon as I got in there, I made a beeline for the core space guys. Because I wanted to see Colin, I wanted to shake his hand, I wanted to tell him what a fantastic game he's made and what a good time we had back up in Sheffield. So that was good. But it was a fantastic day. I only went for the one day, but I've managed to see everything that I wanted to see. Got to meet a few people, as always. Paul and Ree from Wales. They're the usual suspects that appear there. Always nice to catch up with them and have a few beers in the piazza. As far as purchasing goes, I didn't really. I managed to save my wallet somewhat during the show. So I picked up the new flight plan, latest expansion from MY44. And then I went to the Chip Theory Games stand and bought a game called Hoplomachus, which is it's a gladiatorial arena combat game. But Chip Theory Games, who made this back in 2012, they're almost like a boutique style board game publisher. They design everything in house. All the components are very, very high quality. They're big on sort of 11.5 gram poker chips with a lot of the games that they use, and they feel great in your hand, mate. I don't know if you've handled a good poker chip lately, but you know you got something beautiful in your hand when you're holding 11.5 grams, which is what I say to my missus an awful lot. You know, just to assure her in some way. So I bought that and I took it home and I played it. And I played it again and I played it again and I played it every night for the following week. And I thought, do you know what? I should have bought the lot, because they've released a few expansions and other games in the same range over the years. And I could have bought them there and then. I could have bought the whole lot. But you know what? When your missus is with you, you kind of check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know, I mean, full disclosure here, I went to that show with the full intention of buying a gaming table, like a proper full Monty one. But I had to think about it, and I thought, you know what? Maybe at some point, our two houses will become one. So maybe I should wait. Maybe I should wait to see what the one house can accommodate before I go spurging on big pieces of furniture that are very expensive.
Yes.
So yeah, Hoplomachus is great. I'll talk about that on another show.
The show itself, I take it's a different part of the NEC than I'm used to.
Yeah, it's because we're normally ran by the other Weatherspoons. So I don't know, but they had one main hall, and then they had another hall which was probably about 2/3 the size of the first hall. That the attendance continues to rise year on year, which is always great to see, and it's just a really friendly atmosphere. And the fact that I took somebody who has zero interest in board games, who came away and said, "Do you know what? That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be." I don't know if she's got some misconception about, bad geeks and neckbeards everywhere. But don't get me wrong, there was the odd one or two, but a broad church is in attendance.
With the floor plan itself, are there any one major, I'll use the word publisher, that occupy a big amount of space and are representing many, many games? Or is it, as I imagine, a bit less platform heavy, or, do you know what I mean?
Well, you've got your likes of Asmodee and Fantasy Flight. They've got big presences. Games Workshop were big there as well. But what was interesting this time, I managed to get to wander into the competitive play area where you saw tournaments going on, and just watching sort of, 100 odd people playing X-Wing was fantastic. I was looking for Malk, but I just couldn't get hold of him. But that was really good fun. There's something there for everybody. There's special areas for kids where they've got jumbo-sized versions of games like Ticket to Ride and Pandemic. There's even an area where you can just sit down and crack open and play the games you've just bought. Obviously, I wouldn't do that because I'm not going to be playing with unsleeved cards, am I? Because that's ridiculous. The thought of it. But all in all, it's a highlight of my gaming calendar. One of two. Which we'll come to later on in the show. UK Games Expo. Very good. Can thoroughly recommend. Can't wait to go back next year and just look after your wallet, mate. It's not a cheap hobby to get into at all. I thought that coming over from video games to board games, I'm going to save a bit of money here. Fucking not. You're not. I guess the only upside with board games is there's only so much space you've got. There's only so many you can fit. Whereas with video games, particularly now in our digital day and age, you can go and spunk a whole load of money, and it doesn't physically increase, the amount it takes up in your homestead. Speaking of which, Steam sale site today, Matthew.
How was it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to get on, have a little look-see, brother, see if there's anything that tickles your pickle.
Well, I can tell you that I had my first email off Steam saying, "Hey, that thing on your wish list, that's a bit cheaper today."
Oh, they're nice, they are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're drifting into the video game space. So why don't we talk a little bit about what we've been playing?
All right. Well, I'll carry on from there. So I saw a game. It's called Ape Out.
Okay.
Ape Out. It's real stylish. simply controlled top-down dual stick game where you play an ape. And the first thing you do is you smash out of whatever prison you've been kept in, and you just need to go from right to left through the little 3D maze, top down again, getting past the security guards by whacking them into walls. And it's dead simple premise. And it's, I think what absolutely stands out to you is the style and how it's laid out. So the entire game is its beat is like a on the drums, like not jazz, sort of real sort of fast. What was that film with the drumming, which everyone tells me, Whiplash, that sort of stuff.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Right.
I think I get where you're coming from. Yeah, there's a lot of cool drumming going on there, very fast.
Yes, and it works in with the gameplay so that when you're grabbing a guy and throwing him into a wall and he's exploding in this big red pool of blood because it's a very sort of stylish, like dark and red game. There's a big cymbal crash. So although it's not a rhythm game as such, as you find yourself getting into a bit of a rhythm, you hear the different splashes of sound around you. And it's exactly what I sort of thought it was going to be. I've played it half a dozen times.
Okay. What platform did you get that on, mate?
I got that on the PC. I think it might only be there.
Okie dokie.
And I was WASDing that.
Of course you were.
WASDing that. I'm still playing a lot of FTL, far too much FTL, but that's fine.
Does it still? I mean, are you at the stage with that game where you have a set plan of action in mind and you're reliant on, because it's all procedurally generated, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, it is, or
randomized scenarios. Do you ever find yourself like booting one up and going, "Nah, this ain't gonna fucking work," and then you just break it all down and start again?
No, not really. I don't think. And there are different ways that you can go with it. It always used to be that you'd try and pile on a bunch of guns, or you'd pile on a bunch of drones, and there's even starting ships based on one of them compared to one of them. But you can actually pivot in that game pretty quickly.
Okay.
I found myself hitting like a higher level of play, maybe where I had maxed things out so much. I was like, oh, I can't buy any more spare energy. Oh, I see. So when you're at the higher level, you have to sort of pay attention to where you want to move your system strength to. So opening Gambit, I don't need to have my healing station on in my ship because I'm just blasting away. Yep. If I get intruders, that's when I need to start. Okay, well, what do? Do I sacrifice firing this missile for a few minutes while I put some power into the oxygen tanks because the doors have been open for a while because I'm trying to put fires out without having to put them out. So it still does have that joy to it. I do find maybe once, I don't know, maybe every hour, maybe I'll have a run where I'm like, oh, this is good, and I'll stop and I'll be like, oh, okay, if I change that to that, and I've got to the last level and I've seen the boss again. I think I only managed to do the first of the 3 encounters, but I have finished it in the past, and it must be updated because it's got like an advanced mode on there. Where it's like if it's just got more shit in it.
More shit, bit harder.
Yeah,
like it isn't hard enough already.
They did another game that I hear lots about. I forget its name, but I should probably look into that for the very sake of that they did it. Okay,
I'll look forward to hearing an update on that in a future show.
I also got also since we saw each other, E3 happened.
Oh God, yeah, stuff that we used to obsess over. rather horrendously, we used to obsess over that.
Yeah, and I mean that whole thing doesn't matter. But I got I saw it there. There was like they've expanded the Xbox Game Pass to the PC, which I thought they already had done, but it turned out it wasn't quite as I imagined it. And I was keen to get it because there's a game on there specifically I wanted to play. Yeah. And although I had a version of Game Pass for whatever reason, it would have let me do it on a console, but not on my PC. And they've now got this Xbox Ultimate Pass.
Right.
So I got that because for an extra £1 on top of my whatever monthly, yes, I still do direct debits monthly. I'm terrible, but for an extra £1, I got access to the PC library.
Oh, okay. And any choice nuggets on there that you thought, oh yes.
There's a lot of back catalogue, and I look at it and I think, well, yeah, well done, Microsoft. You've been sort of making sure people can still get castle crashes relatively easy and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But the reason I went in there is to get this game called Void Bastards.
Oh, okay.
Void Bastards is primarily action controlled as a first person shooter, but it's also similar to Rogue game where you're having multiple runs and multiple stabs at whatever the end of it is.
Yep.
And it makes you sort of manage. So when you're choosing the start of your round, if you like, or the first thing that you do is choose which way you want to go. Do you want to go to that crashed derelict ship or that crashed derelict ship? And when you get into it, so if you want to move one place, it will take up a bit of fuel and it'll take up a bit of food because every time you have a turn, you've got to lose a bit of resource, haven't you, to keep it exciting. So when you do dock with one of these vessels, you're pretty much just scavenging for parts, so you can continue to upgrade stuff in between missions on these derelicts. And it's got. I mean, the first thing that you'll notice about it is its look, and number 13 XIII.
Yes, I do.
It's like that. It's like comic book.
Yeah. There's a there's a word. There's a terminology used for that. Cell shading.
I guess that's the technique that's used. Yeah. And that plays really well, and the story's told through comic strips, and it's really animated. And I'm trying to like it, and I'm certainly going to try it more. I plugged a controller in. I'm like, oh my god, games are awesome these days. You can plug controllers into your PC without having to change or even reload the game. It just remapped even the UI for all the prompts. I'm like, fucking hell, people.
So let me just check my understanding of this, and this probably betrays where I currently am with my knowledge of games right now. So this Xbox Ultimate Pass for PC, is this just PC games only, or can you play Xbox 360 games on your PC?
You can't play 360 games on the PC unless it's the PC version.
Sure. Okay. Now I understand.
Essentially, it's designed primarily, I suppose, to those who are deep in the ecosystem. So they've got their Xbox One. They might have an old 360 as well, and they may have a couple of PCs. It has your Xbox Live, which is your default. It has your games with gold on the console, and then the games with gold with the PC. And I think it was a promotional thing, and it was an extra £1. And from what I understand, based on how do you know what? I missed the biggest fucking trick in the world because lazy Matthew. Let's say you had a year's worth of Xbox Live banked.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you had your Xbox Game Pass banked, pre-bought.
Yeah.
If you wanted to upgrade to the Ultimate, I think it cost you £1. I don't know if that was £1 for the entire duration or £1 per month added on, but either way, great deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a great deal. I'll do that, £1. But I have a recurring payment, so mine will literally just be for 27 days until the next bill.
Never mind. So, what am I thinking here? Alan Wake was on PC, wasn't it?
Sounds about right.
Would Alan Wake be available because it's been on? Was that a Microsoft game, wasn't it? Or that was an Xbox exclusive?
I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to get my head around is what qualifies for a game to be on this service that you've paid £1 for. It's not going to be every PC game ever released that was also released on Xbox, because otherwise you'd have all the GTAs on there and what have you.
Correct. Yeah. So I ain't sure. But guess what? You're getting all your Fables on there. You're probably going to get a bunch of Horizon games, the Forza games. Do you know what I mean? And Gears of War.
So it's all the Microsoft Studios tied in stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think on top of that as well, you've got a lot of some of them may have lapsed licenses, but I'm pretty sure you've got titles on there from Xbox. What were the 360 weekly or monthly games called that you could buy, and they had demos for them all?
Oh God, yeah. Arcade, live arcade.
Yeah, I'd like to think that those sort of things are on there.
Sure.
That is how it's sort of been sold to me, because the one thing to take away from me, three people, is people want a subscription model for fucking everything.
Yes, they do, mate. Yes, they do. See, are you back on Age of Booty now?
Oh my God, if Age of Booty's on there. Oh. Yes.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, mate. Sounds like you've got plenty to explore and report back on. Oh, he's typing now. Can you hear it, people?
Yep, Age of Booty.
Is it on there?
It's on there.
You beauty.
Oh, no. So I don't know. I've just written it into a notepad. I don't launch it while we're doing this. It'll fuck things up.
No, absolutely. Okay. I understand.
So yeah, that was Void Bastards. We'll see. I am very busy at the moment with work, and we will see.
Yes, aren't we all? Are we all, my friend?
I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing that I can just quickly launch up a roguelike game and have a quick bash while it's in a window next to a work spreadsheet.
Oh, it's dangerous. Are you doing that in the office?
No, I work from home, but I don't do it anyway. But I'm just thinking now I've got access to PC games. Yeah. It's like, will I be tempted to third screen it with like Doom playing? Make sure I share the right screen on GoToMeeting.
Oh my God! Yeah. Can you imagine sharing your screen and you've got because you'll be running solitaire, I imagine, won't you? You crazy bastard.
Right.
Oh, good stuff. Anyway, listen. Enough of this bullshit. I want to know what's cracking with Persona 5.
All right. Well, I was going to wrap it up with said game. So I'm proud and pleased to say that I finished that game.
Oh, right.
I know. I'm really happy about it. I was aware that I was on the final boss. And the wife was aware I was on a final boss because it took me 3 goes. But each go also took an hour.
Was there a bit of effing and jeffing? Were you getting frustrated?
Only at the second time, yes. Because I thought, come on, Matthew, this is what you learned the first time round.
Yeah.
I should double checking, obviously. It did get a little bit tricky. Now, I've got to keep reminding myself that I played this on the easy difficulty level. And pro tip for anybody that I always give out is that you can put your party onto auto attack, and because a lot of the success in combat is by using your elemental attacks against its weaknesses. Guess what? AI remembers what their weaknesses are better than I do. Yeah. So very often you guys just stay on auto, but until you get into a hard boss and you're like, dude, why are you doing that? I know we need healing, but right now I need to change this now for this boss fight. So I had to do it all myself. But once again, that was on easy and me making use of that. And I still found it incredibly tricky. And I was going down, when it started getting hard, I was looking at potions. I'm like, man, some of these potions, you'd have to use them in conjunction with a number of other things. Yeah. But you could see that you could really go down go down that rabbit hole. You would have to put the difficulty that much up. But anyway, that last boss was over, and the wife was all happy for me. And she said, "Is that it now?" I went, "Well, I've spent 200 plus hours with these characters, so I kind of want the Lord of the Rings endings."
Yes. Oh, is there multiple endings?
No, I wouldn't say multiple endings, but in the same way that I thought it was tied up about 20 hours beforehand. Then I've done the boss fight, but I know that I'm going to have to and want to go through some, you know what I mean? Just an exit strategy for Persona 5.
So now you've completed the game and the credits have rolled. What are your options when you get to the end of that? Is there a new game plus? Is there a just start again from scratch on a higher difficulty level? What options are available to you?
So it's given me. I've not tried it yet, but at the very end it did say, look, if you want to create a new save here, this will be a launch to New Game Plus.
Okay.
And as part of the exit of it as well, I got a number of keys, which I understand. But I actually don't understand about it. I'm imagining if I was to go into New Game Plus, my relationships with those characters would immediately be boosted to full, maybe.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not quite sure, but one thing I looked at, so I'll tell you why in a minute. But I went into the PlayStation Store and typed in Persona 5. And I found out that there is, and this is for anybody else who's still playing. I know that a few people are, and there's one. I've got Persona Geeks on Twitter. All the DLCs on there for free.
Oh wow!
Like a shit ton of it, and the Japanese voiceover if you want that.
Of course, yes.
I'd fucking love to play that with the Japanese voice because it would change like how you all of a sudden 200 hours. That's how they sound.
Yeah.
All the different outfits as well. So yes, that's where you go to get your fucking beachwear on the go if you want to see Lady Anne with the tits hanging out.
Lady Anne.
Lady Anne.
Lady Anne with her ample baps swinging digitally across the screen, yes.
The reason I was looking at the store is that I had become aware of a Persona 5 rhythm game on the PlayStation 4. Called,
is this wrist rhythm?
Persona 5 Dancing in the Starlight. I thought, you know what, this would be really funny, because the wife's been like, Jesus, man, 200 hours of hearing these same fucking songs over and over again, and you're still playing them in the car. I go, it's all right, darling, it's all right, you sit back, I've got a new game.
Well, and?
Oh, it was 50 quid. I thought, fuck that.
Oh, well, you love Persona 5, but you don't love Persona 5 50 quid much.
Well, considering, I mean, I got it as a bargain. Persona 5 cost me 15 quid.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't argue with that. And you know what? When I get paid, I might treat myself to that for the justification of I got such good value from that bargain. I can justify this.
Yeah. I'm calling it now. That will be a classic Drunk Matthew purchase. Yeah?
Yeah.
100% certified banger of a prediction. No, that's really cool, mate. It's been such a long time since I've heard you speak so passionately about a game. You know, and you and I have talked about you playing games for an awful long time. And whenever you start talking about a game, my initial thought is always, does it pass the 20-minute test? And if you'd have said to me at the start when you said, "Oh, I've just picked up Persona 5," that I'd have stuck that straight in the 20-minute bin, straight in. But hey, you continue to surprise and amaze me, and it's a wonderful thing. And it's one of the many things that keeps me coming back to sit in front of you every once in a while and having a good old chinwag with you, because you still have that capacity within you to surprise and amaze. So thank you.
That's quite all right, and I guess we'll see what comes next.
Well, anything in mind, or is your mind an open book?
Well, I've still got Devil May Cry 5.
You have.
I may have to restart it, maybe, just to get back into it. But...
Yeah, why not? Why not? Well, if you remember, there was a couple of games that we spoke about on the last show. I'm not expecting you to say that you've done anything with these because reasons. But we talked about Legendary DXP on Steam. Where are you with that?
So I downloaded that.
Yeah.
And I launched that.
Yeah.
And I got halfway through the tutorial. I said, fuck this shit.
Yeah, of course you did.
So then I saw the game that you and Rich were playing. And I went, oh, is this the version of that Marvel thing? You're like, no, this is something else, but get on it. I thought, okay, I'll get on this. And I downloaded it, I installed it, and I played a good few characters worth of the tutorial. I went, no, fuck this shit.
Hang on, wait, what game are you talking about now?
It's it felt like Magic. It was one of them.
Eternal.
Maybe.
Oh, I think you're getting your wires crossed here. I've still been playing a lot of Eternal. That's my continual go-to right now. I'm probably putting, I don't know, probably across the course of 7 days, I'm probably putting a good 4 or 5 hours in. I don't think that's too bad for a working man of my age to be able to get 4 or 5 hours gaming in. But yeah, still all about the Eternal, mate. Love it. And interestingly, I don't really play Magic Arena anymore. And the only thing I can put that down to is how I absorb my gaming at the moment. It has to be portable. It has to be something that I can play on my Chromebook. So that kind of restricts it to Android only, which is something I've not really been the guy that speaks about for such a long time. I've been all about iOS. So as it stands at the moment, Eternal, you can play that on iOS. You can play it on Android. You can play it on PC. It's coming to Switch. Apparently, good news for you Switch owners, and I think it's perfect for Switch. And you can also get it on Xbox One.
Oh, yeah. From a game point of view, oh gosh, what was I going to say? What were you just talking about? I haven't put my hand up like, sir, I've got something to say. What were you just talking about?
Eternal.
Yes, but there's something.
Not the band from the 90s.
No. Oh, it's completely gone. It'll come back to me.
It will. Of course it will. Of course it will.
One thing that I will say is so what I've learned maybe is, as much as I like playing that Marvel game with you and Rich, the idea of just going up and it just doesn't compute with me against the computer. I don't think maybe I'd enjoy it multiplayer if I got past that tutorial, because it has got that. Do you know what I mean? But there's something about sitting in front of you, I think, and that's the only way that I tend to enjoy your hobby as much.
I must admit, and I was gonna cover this off a little later on in the show, but you've segued it in nicely. I find that with many digital board games, it's a bit of a coin flip as to whether I will enjoy it or not in its digital form. But further to that, I'm gonna be talking about a game in the second half, which I've tried to play digitally a number of times, and I've always gone, I don't get this. I'm not enjoying this. And then I went analog with it and fucking loved it. And now I'm back in on the digital because I now understand what the game is about. And I just have to put that down to the fact that the tutorial isn't doing what it should do.
Right.
You know, and I think some games are very, very good at that from a digital perspective. Others not so much. And I think this is one where it falls into that category. So, but I will be talking about it in probably about 5 or 6 minutes' time, because I think we've eked out our digital stuff for the time being. So I think it's time we had a little bit of chip tunage. You and I can go and freshen up and redo our faces, and we'll be right back after this banger. I think the word is, isn't it? Yes. Let's drop this fat one. Right in your ear cavity. Push the button, Matthew. And we're back. You're listening to Radio MLG, dropping those hot digital bangers, the Coldplay, and their raging dance pop tune, The Scientist. Very good, very good. Song for the summer, that is, mate. So they say. Anyway, what I've been playing, continued part 2. With the with the analog antics, which kind of is a digital implementation as well. So what I'm going to talk about is a game called Sentinels of the Multiverse. So this was a game that I originally got on PC. I got it on Steam, and what is Sentinels of the Multiverse? So one genre that doesn't really have much of a place in the analog space is sort of superhero related stuff. You'd expect there to be a lot more than there actually is. I mean, there's been a few attempts at things over the years with Hero Clicks and Dice Masters, and you know, Marvel and DC have kind of settled on their two things now. You've got the DC deck building game, you've got Marvel Legendary, which is another deck building game. But if you take a step back and look at those two games, they are effectively their brands and franchises slotted over or wrapped around a gaming system. Okay, and to give you an example, with the DC deck building game, there's been numerous iterations over the years of the same setup. You've got Street Fighter 2, you've got the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know, I've got quite a few of the different ones, and they all ostensibly do the same thing. But it's just a different theme.
Are they open with it, like Monopoly and their themed things, or is it people just using the same model?
No, there's. I mean, Monopoly. God, you could take a shit in the street, and Monopoly will do a game about it. It's a little more, I guess, a little more controlled and protected. And I think these companies have to go out and secure the licenses. You know, so for example, if you move over to the Legendary side of things, They've gone through. They've done Big Trouble in Little China. They've done Firefly, Buffy, The X-Files, and Bond is on the way. Now, I'd actually drop a shit ton of money on a Bond Legendary game because I think that the theme just fits it perfectly. But still, we're looking at broadly the same kind of mechanic. With, you know, you've got the cards coming out, and you've got to draw cards and buy cards to deal with them. But ultimately, you're left feeling I still think there's some agency missing from those deck building games. It feels like you've just got a bunch of cards with superheroes on them. Don't feel like you're actually playing as a superhero. And I think this is where Sentinels of the Multiverse has it in absolute fucking spades, because the way this game plays is you are controlling somewhere between 3 and 5 superheroes. Each of them have their own deck, their own set of powers, and the fun in this game, because you're going up against some adversaries, being the prime one being I guess the boss, the bad guy. He or she will be sending their minions out to protect them and to attack you. But also you're fighting with the environment. The environment has its own deck. So you'll be playing in a city, or you'll be playing in a prehistoric jungle. And depending on your environment where you're playing, those cards will get turned at the end of every round, and certain things will happen, or things will get put into play and go, right, well, if you don't deal with this, when it comes round to the environment's turn again, it's going to deal you a bunch of damage.
Well, that makes sense, because if it's an epic superhero battle, you are kind of flying across the world and seeing different environments. So that keeps in with the theme. That's cool.
No, it totally does. So basically, the way the game works is you start with the bad guy because they have to attack first, because thematically that's appropriate. You're reading comics, it's never the superheroes going to look for a fight. It's them reacting to an enemy or an adversary doing something bad. So the enemy does their thing. You'll basically have a starter turn. You'll resolve any cards that say at the start of a turn. Then you'll flip a card for the enemy. You'll do what it says. Then you'll get to the end of the turn, activate any end of turn criteria, and then you move on to the heroes. So you take each hero in turn. You start with 4 cards in your hand that have been drawn from a shuffled deck, and you choose a card to play. So you'll play one card. Now it could be a card that goes out in front of you, like it has an ongoing effect, so it will happen every round. Or you could play a one shot, which is, it could be just a burst of energy, or it could do something. It might destroy an environment card or whatever. Then you activate a power. So every superhero has an innate power on their main hero card, but also some of the ongoing or equipment cards that you put into play will potentially have a power that you can activate. And once you've activated that power, the final thing you do at the end of your turn is you draw a card into your hand. So that's it. You play a card, you activate a power, you draw a card. That's probably one of the simplest ways of explaining this game. But the way the synergies occur between the characters. So for example, there's a hero called Legacy. By the way, this isn't tied to any main franchise. I'll come to this in a second. There's a hero called Legacy, and one of his primary base power is he inspires the rest of the team. So for the rest of the turn, until the start of his next turn, every damage that is dealt by any other team member is increased by 1. Now you think, oh well, increasing it by 1 isn't that much. But then if you've got a hero later on in that turn that deals, 1 damage to 3 different targets, then you're basically getting 3 extra damage dealt for free, just on the back of this buff. Then your next hero might come along and go, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take that +1, and I'll make all the damage we deal this turn fire damage, and I'm going to also increase fire damage by an additional 1. So you're getting the 1 buff off the Legacy, you're getting 1 buff off Ra, who's the Egyptian god of fire, whatever, and it kind of builds and builds and builds. So you're playing these cards, and because it's a cooperative game, there's an element of collaboration between all of the players. So when Darren and I played it last weekend, we controlled 2 heroes each because we're both familiar with the game now. Darren's played it a lot on digital, and I've played it a fair bit on digital as well. So we were comfortable in just handling 2 characters each. But if there was 3 players, you could play with just 3 heroes. The game does scale quite well from 3 upwards, so you can play from 3 to 5 heroes against one enemy. But I love the theme of this game. I love how I feel like I am a superhero and I am doing stuff with other superheroes, and we're working together to take this big bastard down. And you can do it. As with many, many cooperative games, you can play this game solo, but you're just controlling more heroes at the same time. So I've done a couple of solo runs with this just to familiarise myself with the mechanics and the way it plays. Because one thing I will say about the analog version is it's awesome. I love it, but there's a little bit of bookkeeping to keep a track of all the buffs and the debuffs that are going on. But I like that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I like that. It's like building a macro. Isn't it?
Yes. I have a question for you. It's gone again. It's gone again. What the hell is wrong with me? I always had this great question, and I'm about to put my hand up, and then you say something else, and then I interrupt you, and it's gone.
You type that shit down, brother.
No, I got it. When you're playing and learning the game, like you are now, so you said you were dual handing, so you're going through it with two decks to sort of understand it more.
Yeah.
If you get to a failure state and you go, okay, brilliant, would you maybe look through the rest of the cards to see how things could have panned out and start seeing like a battlefield in progress, if you like, and then considering how things could work? Or is that, I don't know, is that not sporting?
Well, I don't even know if it's a thing that you would do, because the heroes are so well balanced that there are times when you will lose, but you'll still have a load of fun while losing. And it's worth noting that if a hero gets defeated, you flip their main character card over, and even though they are not within the game, there is still maybe 3 options that you can take with that character. So it might be every player draws a card, or this deals 2 damage. So it's almost like, well, they're defeated, but they're still contributing. And I guess that deals with, that problem with a lot of games suffer from, is that when a player's eliminated, that they sit back and they've got fuck all to do. So it addresses that very well. But the reason I really, the reason the reason I'm really enjoying this, and I've talked about the theme, I've talked about the way the cards sort of synergize together. The game is now fully complete in terms of everything that's been released has been released for it. I mean, the last big expansion that came out is called Oblivion. Okay, and this is basically their equivalent of the Infinity War. So there's this like massive boss. There's fights going on across several different environments. It's all going fucking crazy. Apparently, it takes a few hours plus to actually defeat Oblivion. But by the end of it, you're thinking, yeah, I've had an epic fucking battle here, because heroes are dying left and right. You're throwing more heroes in. And across the years since this has been released, they've released a number of, big box expansions, which just adds more characters, more heroes, more villains, more environments. They've released like small box expansions, which is just like a single pack of one hero, etc., etc. But this is a world, this is a comic world which has been developed by the designers, and it almost it exists in its own state. And the way they pitch it is each game you play is canon, because this is a multiverse. So there's so many different occurrences of the same thing going on that you can quite literally take every game you play as canon, because it's somewhere it will have existed. And not spoiling anything too much, but there's almost like a story running underneath as you go through each of the expansions, which culminates in the Oblivion expansion at the end. These guys have got they've even gone as far as to they're running a podcast at the moment called The Letters Page. It's well worth checking out if you get into Sentinels, because they've even gone as far as writing deep and incredibly articulate backstories around each of the characters. And people submit through forums, etc. They submit questions, Legacy, how come he's survived in this timeline, but in the other timeline he's got X, Y, and Z? And they'll answer the question because they've gone so deep with this lore, And I think there's probably only a couple of comics that actually exist in a physical form or a digital form. But they talk about there's this deep history. They talk about different timelines, because they've gone to different places with the franchise. So Sentinels of the Multiverse, the card game, it was the primary and first thing that they ever did, and then they moved on to a board game called Sentinels Tactics, and their last release was something called I can't remember what it's called now, but it's an RPG. So it's a superhero RPG, which is another timeline within the multiverse. But this is a cracking game, and now, having learned to play it through YouTube videos and playing the physical version, I was able to dive straight into the digital and go, right, let's have it. I'm having a load of fun with this now. Right now, as we speak, it's discounted on iOS. It's something like 99 pence. And shit, son, it's in the Steam sale. 90% off, 69 pence this game is right now. Sentinels of Multiverse, go get it, have some fun, because it's a terrific game. The online version supports multiplayer, both with with randoms, and I imagine you can pull in your friends as well. I've kind of gone balls deep with the physical version because I really enjoy it. So there's I've got all the characters, I've got all the expansions, and I've got loads of sleeves coming. It's going to be glorious sleeving. Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
When you died, should we sleeve your coffin?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe you could just laminate my cock and preserve it for all time.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Yeah, and take a cast of my tongue as a favour to someone. That would be great. Thanks.
All right,
thanks.
I know just the fella.
Oh yes, I bet you do. So Sentinels of Multiverse gets a big 2 thumbs up from me. Go get it. Go play it. Get it while it's cheap. Just have fun. Enjoy it. It's great.
I've written it down.
Yeah, and that's as far as it gets. It's just written down. 69 pence, brother. 90% off.
Can't buy anything for that anymore.
No, it's cheaper than a pint of milk. Okay, there you go. I'm not going to bore you with any other analog antics. Although I have been playing many games. Some highlights being Warhammer. Warhammer. What's it called now? Blackstone Fortress. That's as figures. Dudes on a board skirmish game. Very good indeed. Playing that at Darren's at the moment. Busting some classics out like Love Letter. Love Letter's a fabulous game. It's cheap as chips. It's 16 cards. You could play it with 2 people upwards, and it's great. It's the sort of thing you could whip out in a pub and just have fun with. You know, I will make sure that come the end of September, I shall be carrying this upon my personage. Should anybody want to have a quick game, but it's designed for 3+ players, and that's where it gets really interesting because of the dynamics between the 16 cards. And I guess I'll talk about that a little more on another show. But if you're interested, go Google Love Letter. It's a great little game. So there you go. That's all I got to talk about.
We seem to have out through that quickly.
We have. And, it's not always a bad thing. Not always a bad thing. Shit, man, I could talk to you about so many other things. Yeah, listen, here we go. Now, I should have spoken about this at the beginning of the show because it's a kind of what I've been doing, and it kind of ties in with a purchase that I've made recently. Okay, so I just want to preface this by saying, you will have noticed of late that I have been investing in sort of quality of life improvements, doohickeys and gadgets. And if I was to ask you, of all the things that you do around the home, you strike me as a guy that's no stranger to doing a few household chores. Could you list some that you don't really like doing?
Hoovering's always a pain in the arse.
Yeah?
Yeah. Picking up dog shit's a pain in the arse.
All right.
Taking the bins down, they're a pain in the arse.
Okay, so if you were to delegate one of those responsibilities to technology, I can tell you for free that the first one is suitably addressed. And I'm talking about the hoovering. So we've been... I mean, it's been on my radar of awareness for some time that there's these little whatever they call robotic vacuum cleaners, or what was the first one that was ever released? I can't remember what it was called.
I got one called RoboSuck.
You've got one called RoboSuck?
Not really.
No, okay. No, I think that's from another website, Matthew. And that doesn't hoover the floor. maybe just hoovers the clamdruff off your shaft.
Oh gosh, is that SEO worthy?
Yeah, I don't know. Or porn flakes. Which do you prefer? They're both the same thing. Your sexual detritus that's accumulated. You mucky boy. So no, it doesn't do that. What was the original one called? Anyway, doesn't matter. So I spoke to a guy at work, and we have very good conversations when we do speak. And he said, "Yeah, I want to talk to you about something." And he started talking about one of these robotic vacuum cleaners. And straight away I thought, "Oh, this is just a fucking gimmick, mate. They can't be that good." But he talked long and hard about it. He sent me videos of the thing in action, and I followed up with a bunch of questions. Enough questions were satisfied. I was satisfied with their answers for me to go, right, I'm getting one of those. So I bought a robotic vacuum cleaner, and mate, it's a fucking tits. I love it. And you're on mute.
Yeah, so it can't be.
Oh, mate, Okay, I'm going to tell you what this thing does, right? Well, this thing vacuums my floor, which I don't like doing. All right, so there's a plus point already. If you give me technology that's going to do something I don't want to do, I'm all over it. Yeah. So this thing, it basically sits in its own charging station, and it's hooked up to Wi-Fi, and I've got an app installed on my phone. I've also linked it to Amazon Echo. So there's a multitude of ways I can control it. And what it does, it undocks itself, and then it just starts roaming around. And it's hoovering and shit. And it keeps hoovering and hoovering and hoovering. And then when it gets tired, it heads back to the docking station, all on its own.
Does it empty itself on its own?
No, it doesn't empty itself. Well, how is it going to do that, Matthew?
I don't know. But it charges itself in there, I suppose.
It does. It right. Charges itself, now, and I can always see the status of this thing on my phone. And further to that, if I'm out and about, and let's say, oh, you've rung me and said, Darren, I'm coming to Ruisley. I'll be there in a couple of hours. I'll swing by for a coffee, and I'll say, oh, well, I'm at work, but I'll be home by the time you get there. But think, shit, I don't have time to run the vac around. Because obviously that's the first thing I think of every time you said you'd come round. But no, but I can just go onto my app and say, right, RoboVac, start cleaning. And it goes and does its thing. I'm not even there. It's obeying my orders.
But can you see what it's doing when you're not there?
No, I trust. Because one of the things you'll do, and I guarantee anyone who's ever owned a RoboVac, or anyone who ends up buying a RoboVac, is what they will do is they will be fascinated, and they will follow it around for the first few times it cleans. This thing is amazing, and it lifts stuff as well. It does. It lifts a good amount of shit. I mean, I've got mine on a schedule now. Mine goes off at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning every day. So I've got it all scheduled in. I don't even have to activate it. It just does it. It just does its thing. But every single time, I mean, I've got a lot of hardwood floor, so not really something that would hold a lot of dust. But I'm still emptying it every day, and you know, it makes you think about of skin that I'm shedding on a regular basis.
So why don't I ask you some of the go-to questions I'd have when it comes to that sort of a sales pitch?
Please do. Yes.
Well. The biggest thing, obviously, is that it can't go upstairs unless technology's moved on, like the Daleks, and they can hover. So you're obviously restricted to your downstairs living area, obviously. So how well does it deal with the little bit of a lip that you have going from room to room?
Yeah, it can handle that up to about. There's a few centimeters that it will deal with. So it handles small I guess steps. It also handles transition from a floor to a rug. It deals with all that perfectly, and I'm glad you asked about that. But to your earlier point about the downstairs upstairs thing, obviously long term you'd potentially have two in the house, one for your upstairs and one for your downstairs. Okay, but I just basically take mine off the docking station and I'll take it upstairs and I'll put it on the floor and then I'll set it away.
All right. You said it goes off at 7 o'clock. Is it safe to assume it's quiet?
It is quiet. It makes about as much noise as a microwave.
And how much was it?
Now you see. This is the thing.
Is there a payment plan coming?
So I initially balked at the price. So the one I opted for, and there's a broad spectrum of prices for different brands, and I settled for one that I felt did the job right for me. The one I've got is good for pets. Okay, so it's good for getting up pet hair. The current price on Amazon is £270. Okay, which isn't too bad. Okay, I managed to drop on a deal direct from their website, which is, I don't know, eufylife.com. It's basically the model I've got is the Eufy, that's EUFY. I think it's called the RoboVac 30C. Okay. I dropped on a deal ordering direct through the site, so I managed to get sort of £70 off. And then with a little bit of top cash back in there as well, bought it in under £200. So I'm very happy with my purchase. Very, very, very happy indeed. The good lady's seen it in action. I've taken it down to her. She sold on it. So she's definitely going to be getting one, but I think we're just going to hold out and wait to see if there's another price promotion on. Because there's a bit of a difference between £200 and £270.
You could always save yourself a fortune, and if you do ever migrate houses, you get a bungalow.
Yeah. Or if she gets one and two houses ever become one, then we've got an upstairs-downstairs gig.
Hey, I told you what.
Haven't we? Now, I've got to... I'm not putting anything in show notes or anything, but if anyone's heard this and thought, I'm a bit interested in this, I want to get involved, I can do you a referral code which will get you a year's supply of spares and replacement parts. Because there's certain things like the brushes and the filters, etc., which you're supposed to change every few months, which is fine. But that's up to the value of about 38-40 quid if you get a link off me. So you know how to find me. Matt will tell you in the domestics. But yeah, if you want to get this thing and you want a few extra bits for free, give me a shout. I'll sort your referral link out. But I fucking love this thing, mate. I love it. I love it. I haven't told you the best thing. You can name it.
I did wonder.
You can name it, okay? And when you bark in your orders at Alexa, ask Robovac to start cleaning, and she'll say, yes, blah-de-blah is now cleaning your room.
Are you going to...
So it says the name. So I went through a multitude of names. So I started with Hilda, after Hilda Ogden, who's one of your archetypal classic cleaners. Then he went to Doris. And I still wasn't comfortable with that. I said, this doesn't feel like a female thing. It looks like a little, because it's black and what have you. I thought, it's a dude, this is. I thought, right, Robovac. Sounds a bit like Robocop. Oh, right, Murphy. That's your fucking name. So I've got Murphy the Robovac. So he's got, what is it? Protect the innocent, serve the public trust, and hoover up the shit. Brilliant. I love it.
That is pretty
bonkers.
Right,
I even bought some googly eyes off eBay. You know, the little googly eye things. So it's got eyes on it. So it's got even a bit more character to it now. I love them googly eyes. Can
you train it to see off would be breaker inners?
No, unfortunately not. But it's designed to do a thing, and the thing it does very, very well. And I'm a happy man.
Good.
And my floor's never been cleaner, mate.
Well
so
done.
There you go.
Well done.
Yes, I thought so.
Oh, did you watch any of the new Black Mirror?
I've not. I've heard mixed things about that, my friend. What's your take? What's Matthew's hot take? It's all right.
I've only done the first one. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. So it's as good as Endgame. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Because you said the same thing about Endgame.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go, people. Black Mirror, one episode is as good as Endgame on the Matthew scale. Perfect. Right, MLGX. What kind of update are we offering up to the boys and girls listening today?
How much are we allowed to tell?
I don't know, because the official announcement hasn't gone out yet. All right, so this is what is known. Okay, it is happening on the last weekend of September, should I say? So you're looking at, and people like to rock up a day early, don't they? So I'd say from Friday night, the 27th of September, there's going to be people out and about in the centre of Birmingham, because that's where we've been for the last few years, and it's a good central place for everybody. And it's not that we don't like London, but Birmingham's a lot more central. It's in terms of access and, you know, the cost of being able to, you know, find somewhere to stay over. So we've got loads of activities options for the Saturday. So obviously Friday night is everybody's getting together, and we've not seen each other for such a long time. So it's a very social occasion. It's a very, you know, for me it's a family affair. This year's it is a family affair, because it's all about the midlife game of family, And, the people that know us, the people that listen to us, the people that interact with us, you're all in some way, shape or form part of the family. And we want you to come and be with us. And we're going to have a family weekend. We've got loads of stuff lined up for activities for the Saturday. There's a wealth of things that you can get up to in the centre of Birmingham, apart from shopping in the Bullring, which is, I know what the lovely ladies like to do. You've got go-karting, you've got rock climbing, there's pinball arcades, there's board game cafes, there's some other stuff. I know the community managers collating all the list and the announcement posts at the moment. So for us, it's about you tell us what you want to do, and we'll help you organise it. If a gang of you want to go and do an escape room, we'll help you. We'll help you book it. But obviously, it'll all culminate on as it always does every year on a Saturday night. We have a little gathering, get together where we can all love each other and have fun, dance the night away, bit of song, bit of love, maybe the odd drink or two. But we've got a new location. We've got a brand new location, which is we're still crossing the T's and dotting the I's on that. So I'm not going to say where it is, but I can tell you it's not the Irish Centre. All right, it's a little closer to the centre of Brum. To be honest, so you got less far to stagger when you get out at the end of the night. But I'm so looking forward to it. I'm super excited. I can't wait. Can't wait to see old faces. I want to see new faces. All those dry humps we get to give out, Matthew. It's a beautiful thing.
It certainly is, and I booked my hotel. I'm good to go. And yeah, it's and don't think that. I mean, there's going to. So obviously, you mentioned it yourself earlier, Darren, that the UK Games Expo is your go-to thing. The only thing keeping you still going to EGX was a great excuse where everybody was always there.
Yeah.
And I know that there have been people who've been like, oh, okay, next year, I'll come next year, right? Our family doors are always open. And it can be your first there as if it could be your first anywhere else. I really want some more first. It's always fantastic each year when we see recurring people and then fresh faces who say things like, oh, I've been meaning to come for years, but I wasn't too sure. I didn't know how it would work. I didn't know if I'd get on with people, and those myths are dispelled within seconds. And
they always say the same thing. I only wish I'd done this sooner. Yeah, and anybody, and if I'm a liar, call me out. But I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. You ask anybody who's been to one of our gigs before. The first time is the time that they enjoy. And they say they wish they'd done it sooner. So, if this is your first time this year, it doesn't matter that there isn't a Video Games Expo, because you're being exposed you're being exposed to the love of Midlife Gamer, and there's no greater love, as far as I'm concerned.
If I could bottle it, I would.
Yeah, and sell it. No, that's prostitution, mate. Okay. We don't approve of that kind of activity.
Oh, will that not be on the list for one of the things to do on Saturday?
Well, no, because there's always somebody who ends up going the titty bar. So, but it's not on the official list of things that can be done during the Saturday daytime. But you guarantee somebody on the Friday night may or may not end up in a titty bar. All right, insert name here as appropriate. So there you go. Look out for the full announcement coming through on the Facebook page, also on Twitter, through the website, where we can share a little more detail and give you the opportunity to plan around that. Get yourself some accommodation booked, whether it's you're just coming up for the Saturday or you want to come up on the Friday and make a weekend of it. There's plenty of us that do that. I'm there for I'm there for 2 nights. You're there for 2 nights. Come and have some fun with us. We won't let you down.
I believe you.
You better believe it. You better believe it, baby. Okay. Domestics time, my friend.
Okay, let me get on with this then. you can go to the main website, which is at... No, it's not. I'm not having a particularly good show, and I'm actually kind of straight tonight. Instead of my usual curiously swinking ways.
With a glint in your eye and a swagger in your voice.
Anyway, www.midlifegamer.net is the official website. That's where you can go and keep an eye on things for when the announcement comes out. For MLGX, I suspect it will be post haste. So it's a great place to keep an eye if you are not on the Facebook groups or on Twitter. But if you are on the Facebook groups and you're not already, why don't you go and join the Midlife Gamer group? Fantastic bunch of people in there. I get the majority of my news, if I so seeked out, from there. But it's not a link fest. People aren't just posting absolutely everything on there, and we don't tolerate memes. I don't know,
there's just good conversations about shit, and you know, I learn about so many games that I didn't know existed. Because people come along and post, God, I just picked this up and it's great and I'm really enjoying it. And I love to read how these games impact people in positive ways. You know?
True that. If you're not a fan of the Facebooks, but you're still a bit social media-y, you could maybe be on Twitter, where you can follow the main feed, which is at MidlifeGamerNet. You could follow myself, who is at MantisMatt. And you can follow Darrow, who is at Uncle_Fister.
Such enthusiasm, Matthew. Oh, and you can follow me at MantisMatt, and you can follow him if you can be asked. What's wrong with people nowadays? So much doom and gloom. Yes, we're going to have a fucking muppet for a prime minister. Who gives a shit? He'll be gone. He'll be gone. Sure enough, sometime soon. Oh, as long as we've got our blue passports, we'll be all right, won't we? Fuck me. Right. Okay, so there's the domestics done. Have you got any plans? Got anything you want to be getting up to over the next couple of weeks? Are you doing any more outdoor activity? I've not seen you camping or hammocking for a while.
Well, as it happens, we may be doing that in a couple of weeks' time, which is good. Mm-hmm. I've got in July, in theory, I is off to go and see the Beach Boys.
Oh, very nice.
One of the singers, however, hasn't been well, and they cancelled a bunch of June things, but it's still yet to be announced about July. So we shall see.
Very good, mate.
We shall see.
Very good.
Other than that, no, just fam stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of work stuff. And I'll squeeze in a bit of gaming while I'm at it, eh?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
What about yourself?
Super duper. Yeah, gaming. Bit of gaming. Bit of. I'm on a bit of a tidy up purge at the moment, and that's kind of occupying a little bit of my time, but it's going to be worth it. So I just need to make some space in my house. Maybe fit some more board games in. But no, I didn't say that. It's all right, the missus will be listening. I didn't say that. Are you joking? It's going to be great. It's going to be lovely and tidy. It'll be lovely clean floor. And we're going to go and see Yesterday, I think, at some point soon. So that was that went down very well at the Rocket Man film. It was one of the trailers. But aside from that, similar to yourself, mate, get your head stuck into your work, do a good job, earn a crust. Pays for shit, pays for booze, pays for food, pays for games. And on that note, we'll leave you to it. Have yourselves a fantastic gaming time over the next coming weeks or so. Be wonderful to each other. Go balls deep wherever you can. And, just enjoy what you enjoy. And until next time, I don't know, I've got it all the wrong way around, haven't I? Right, Matt and I love you. That's what we're saying. All right, honest conversation. Matt and I love you. We don't hear from you that often, but we love you, and we're still here doing it. 10 years down the line, and we'll try and do it for another 10 years at least. You know, as long as he'll have me, I'll be sat here behind the mic, causing havoc and mayhem.
Well, I'm determined to hit 300.
Yeah, man. Can't wait for season 2. And on that bombshell, join us next time when we'll bring you another exciting episode of the Midlife Gamer Podcast. Say goodbye, Matthew.
Goodbye. That first Black Mirror episode, it's got something cool in it, actually. They managed to portray a 2D fighting game with live actors really well.
Really?
Yeah. It's the best part of it is how they managed to do that.
Yeah. Because you know Brooker's background was PC gaming journalism. Yeah. That definitely comes through with some of the stuff that he's done in the past.
It's only 3 episodes though.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, each one's got a celeb in.
Okay, so we've got the Miley Cyrus. Who else have we got?
So in the first one, it's the dude from Avengers. He plays Falcon.
Okay, the Falcon dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Cyrus, the Falcon dude, and who's the other one?
Another man.
Another man. Is he famous?
Not
famous enough, it would appear. Yeah. How you getting on with Love Island, brother?
Oh, I despise every sound I hear coming from the living room.
I'm so pleased and proud to be able to say I have never seen a single frame of Love Island in motion. And it warms me to know that I'm protected from that, or I protected myself from it.
Oh God, the wife came out with it. It's another thing, like shortening words, so like well gel and ovs. Obviously, there was another one she came out with, and I had to stop myself for a second, and I don't want to hear it anymore. Thankfully, I forgot it, but I'm sure if I start hearing it anymore, things will have to happen.
So it's what? So it's not fam, because that's already been shortened.
Yeah, what was it now? Oh, it wasn't seriously. It wasn't like Siri or whatever like that. You couldn't say that. You'd be affecting everybody's home devices.
Phone would be kicking off, wouldn't it?
It's not important because it's a terrible, terrible show.
It's a terrible show, yes. Anybody who watches that, get in the fucking sea. Get in the fucking sea. All right, Joe, can you hear me? Get in the fucking sea.